All right, so as we live, let's check the feed. Just letting it pop up. Bear with us.
It just popped up.
All right, here we go. Beautiful.
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers. Is it imaginable?
I think that is imaginable. I think I think you can imagine that. You can imagine, well, you're going to be sort of transplanted into the internet, so to speak, to live forever in a digital realm. You can imagine that you just in your biological incarnation are going to live to be some very long age.
All right, shalom.
Shalom.
All right, GMS Charlotte back at you with another live lesson, midweek lesson here. We had to do this lesson online. Shalakia. We had to do this lesson online because the weather is supposed to be severe weather coming in. So, nevertheless, we pray that this live lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect, those that are tuning in right now. So before we get started, we'll give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us his truth. Double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring in the house of David, the elect, that's pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers. Elect. Shalom. So, pretty much this is open forum. All right, we'll be jumping around a little bit, but before we get started here, I wanted to address, the situation, all right, concerning the MOTB. This video pulled up here by Elder Apostle Har. It says RFK Jr. wants all U.S. citizens to be microchipped, one step closer. So let's play a little bit of this, and we'll grab a couple of articles and scriptures and whatnot, because one thing that we do know, all right, is that at the height of nuclear war that's going on in the earth right now, before it all goes down, the chip has to be pushed. All right, we see the whole beast conglomerate coming together. The Palantir, okay, data tracking, social credit scores, worldwide surveillance. Okay, what else? Pretty much everything that entails the totality of the beast system coming to pass. All right. So as it tells us in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, though it tarry, wait for it, it shall surely come. It will not tarry. It's all here. Your brothers can add in if you want.
Khan, I got a quick one. This is Isaiah chapter 55 and 11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it. Because everything that we constantly go into is predicated on the prophecies that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua told us was going to happen. So as we seeing these things take place in the world, all right, we understand that the Lord has an order set up for how things are going to come to pass. So as we made mention, we see the tensions and different events going on over with, Iran and Israel, and different other, players. But we know that World War III is going to fully come into fruition until the prophecy of the mark of the beast is implemented.
That's right.
So like I said, the words of the Lord are not going to go out of them void. So, we got to always continue to talk about the chip, because that's the last, puzzle piece that needs to be put in place for everything else takes place.
That's it. The icing on the cake, so to speak, right?
That's it.
That's it, man. So let's brothers have anything real quick. We'll play the video a little bit here. All right.
Praise Yahweh Shem El Shah, Bashem Rukakwada, Shalom to the 144,000, and the rest of the elect out there, Shalom to you all. Anyway, I'm going to make this super quick, and I'm going to entitle this video RFK, the son, or RFK Jr., the son of RFK, the brother of JFK. RFK Jr. wants all U.S. citizens to be microchipped. More info on the MOTB. So this is going to be short. So what I did was, this is fair use. I went from the normal speed down to 0.75. So listen closely, because the Republicans criticize the Dems for this, microchip technology. We can go back as far as Joe Biden confirming Robert, what's his name? Justice Roberts as Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, which is the highest court in the land. He said, before you're 10 years over, you will rule whether it's constitutional or lawful to put microchips in the people. I believe he said people's heads. It used to be all over YouTube. You can't find it on YouTube. You might find it on Roku or Odyssey, because we're living in that time. So the Republicans criticized that going back years. Now they're pushing it. Well, even Trump said that in for 2000 campaign for it had to be 2015, I believe. He spoke about the exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. He was talking about tracking people. He was talking about the people of South America, which are Israelites, the tribes. So here we go. Like I said, I'm not going to make this long. So listen closely. You know what I'm going to do?
It isn't based in fact, science, or reality, sir. It's wrong.
And then RFK Jr. states that his vision for every American is to be wearing a wearable within 4 years, what like tracks you and tracks your health and tracks everything about you. So remember when the MAGA Republicans tracks every 4 years, and A Jr. states,
or reality, sir, it's wrong.
And then RFK Jr. states that his vision for every American is to be wearing a wearable within 4 years, is to be wearing a wearable within 4 years,
That's the microchip technology, the mark of the beast. So this is going to be, or how do you say, bipartisan. They both houses of Congress, the Democratic side, Republican side, and the Senate, they're going to all come to an agreement on whether Americans should take the chip. Then it's going to be an uproar. Like I said before, and I'll continue to say, the first group as a whole of a race will be the whites, the Southern whites, the Bible Belt, saying this is the mark of the beast and we ain't going to take it. So it's going to finally go up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will have to rule whether it's constitutional or not. So when they make it constitutional, pretty much you're going to have to take it. You got to follow GMS. You want the 100% truth. You got to follow GMS. 99% just won't do. Let's bring it back.
That's right.
Fact, science, or reality, sir, it's wrong.
And then RFK Jr. states that his vision for every American is to be wearing a wearable within 4 years.
That's a microchip.
what like tracks you and tracks your health and tracks everything about you. So remember when the MAGA Republicans were like, oh, the Democrats want to put chips in your body, and
the Republicans are now pushing it. Trump, and for his 2016, what do you call it, run for president, the first time he became a president, I said he mentioned the entrance visa tracking system, which we need desperately. He was talking about the wearable technology, which is
remember, whether it's left, right, Democrat, Republican, these are two arms, on the same beast. Okay, this is all show. It's all WWE bullshit, man. Okay, both of them, both parties played for the same team. Okay,
God, I got that for you, Saquon.
you got it. Go ahead, bro. I'll
This
pull
is
it up.
Revelation. God.
All right, you got it, brother.
This is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 11. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
You can speak on it.
Right, those two horns going into this bipartisan system, right? The two political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, right? But it ultimately goes into the dragon, right? The draconian measures that are going to be instituted at the latter end of his system, right? To fully enact that system of the beast being controlled over the earth, right? And we're seeing the psyops take place. We're seeing all of these things, the legislation, the things being instituted to have these things come to pass.
That's right. And that part of that draconian system is what? Tracking you. And that's where it's headed to. Everything is about to go, it's about to be unbearable at some point. And like Elder Apostle Hart was saying, you're going to have division amongst these Edomites because everybody's talking about it. All right. You can go on YouTube, you can go on Instagram, you can go on, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. All right. People are aware of this beast system that's being established. They're aware of the MOTB system, and there's going to be uproar. There's going to be pushback. You see, this is why these devils now, what are they doing? They're writing legislation to take away your sovereignty, your rights, all right, your freedom of speech, your right to bear arms. So you won't have the ability to defend yourself, to speak out. Okay, this is part of everything going full blown draconian. Okay, he's getting ready to come with the sword, right?
Let's bring it back one more time.
For every American is to be states that
or reality, sir, it's wrong.
And then RFK Jr. states that his vision for every American
it's the memo that they gave him to read.
Is to be wearing a wearable within 4 years, what like tracks you and tracks your health and tracks everything about you. So remember when the MAGA Republicans were like, oh, the Democrats want to put chips in your body and they want to literally track you. Let me get this straight. You have Elon Musk literally wants to install a chip in your head. That's what Musk is building, a chip inside your brain and your head. But I guess MAGA's okay with that. You have a AI company called Palantir having a government.
Palantir, by the way, I looked it up. We known for looking up words too, going into root words. Palantir means to see far. A tracking system. Palantir see far.
Government contract with the Trump regime.
I want to add on to that because I did a lesson as well going into to the name Palantir. Like Elder Apostle Hart said, to see far. Also came out to say to watch over. Okay, and that's exactly what this technology is going to do. And I want to pull this up as I brought out in my lesson, Jeremiah chapter 5. Bear with me. This is Jeremiah chapter 5 and verse 6. And it reads, it says, wherefore a lion out of the forest shall slay them, and a wolf of the evenings shall spoil them. A leopard shall watch over the cities, right? Esau is that leopard, man. And through this technology, this Palantir, as we're talking about, he's going to have the ability to watch over everybody. That's why, again, having that device installed in the body is going to give this devil the power to track and watch over everybody, right? A leopard shall watch over the cities. Everyone that goeth out thence shall be torn into pieces, because their transgressions are many and their backslidings are increased. So this is what's going on, okay? His ability to play God, all right, to be, what's the word, omnipotent or omnipotent, however you want to pronounce it, all right? Because the scriptures talk about, and it details it, how this man's mind and his thought is to be like the Most High, okay? And he's going to have that ability through this left-hand technology, right?
Zaquan, may I add to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, actually, we might get into. Well, actually, I'll go ahead and grab it. I'll grab it. Revelations 13 and 15.
Now, you know what? Hold that.
Hold that.
Yeah. Hold that. Yeah, we get there. I got you. Yeah, let me finish this out. But now we're gonna eat off that.
God.
To create databases and lists on every American. You have RFK Jr.
Which is nothing that microchip technology, Revelation 13 and 16, is nothing but a tracking system to make you digital slaves.
That's it.
Everybody to wear a device called a wearable that will track everything about their health and send it to the government. It's always projection and confession with these MAGAs. Here, play this clip of RFK Jr. talking about the wearables. Play this clip.
About their physical activity, about the way that they live their lives. We think that wearables are a key to the Maha.
That's a quote for chips, microchips.
And making America healthy again, and we think that wearables are a key to the Maha agenda, making America healthy again. And
what if you don't want to be healthy? What if you like to eat junk food? Should you have to feed them? Nope, you got to be healthy. We're going to monitor you. You got to run 5 miles every other day. You got to go to the gym. We're going to give you a free membership. And you got to eat these foods, and you can't eat these other foods. And you have to go to sleep at 9 o'clock, and you have to get up at 6 in the morning. That's slavery.
You are going to. My vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years.
Code for microchip. Code for mark of the beast.
Yep.
We've been telling y'all out there, you window shoppers that watch GMS, we have the 100% truth. If Bishop Nate had the 100% truth, he would make that statement. IUIC has 100% truth. I'm not going to hold my breath.
Years.
Yep, I guess that's what MAGA meant by Maha, government tracking you. Let's be honest.
Yeah, so that's the end of that video. So real quick, before we get into the scriptures here, all right, just adding a little bit more, because as we just played in the beginning of the lesson, right, just to go back, right, just to go back, you heard it, all right, it's just 3 years ago, okay?
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, you will all have implants, all right? So there's no gray areas, there's no beating around the bush, okay? This thing is here, right? Now, just adding on to what RFK was saying, okay? And that guy's finished too. This is from IB Times, okay? It says RFK Jr. declares he wants every American to wear health monitors
sparks conspiracy theories so they can track us. Tracking the population that doesn't seem problematic at all, one user said, right? So they, as the video was just played, okay, the wearables, aka the chip, okay, and it said that it sparked conspiracies because people see, okay, people know exactly where this thing is headed, okay, it's headed to the MOTB system, okay, right? Let's read a little bit more, right? And I'll pull this up for you, priest, as well. All right. So let's just read a little bit, and then we'll grab the scriptures here. Let's make this bigger, slock here. All right. So it says Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. sparked a flurry of conspiracy theories from social media users after stating that he wants every American to use a wearable health monitor, aka the chip, further adding that it is one of his long-term goals, right? Because this guy, he's juiced in with them small hats too. Don't get it twisted, all right? Actually saw a video on that, okay? It says RFK Jr. appeared before the House of Energy and Commerce Committee in a Tuesday hearing in which he shared his vision for wearable health monitors with members of Congress, all right, as we just heard in the video that Elder Apostle Hart just played, right? He said it's a way people can take control of their own health. They can take responsibility. He said they can see, as you know, what food is doing to their glucose levels, their heart rates, and a number of other metrics as they eat it. And they can begin to make good judgments about their diet, about their physical activity, about the way they live their lives. So all this stuff is basically being disguised as something beneficial for society, but it's actually the snare. We've been saying this for years, all right? That they were going to pose this device as something that is what humanity needs, but it's the ultimate snare. Okay, you got it, Atazwan.
If I could say that's bullshit, because if that was the case, if they really cared about the people's health, then they would shut down all these fast food restaurants. They would stop making GMOs. They would make eating healthy affordable.
Right.
If that was really the case. But the conditioning has already been, in the works, which is why they started getting for everybody, the smart wearable stuff like the Apple Watches, the Fitbits, and different things like that.
Right.
That's the conditioning. So that when they tell you, all right, well, you ain't got to wear these no more. You can just put a chip inside of you, and it's just, less devices you got to carry around and wear. You ain't got to worry about, your watch dying. You got to worry about, carrying a portable charger or whatever other bullshit they're going to try to say. So just, the snares of the devil, man.
That's it. Hey, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices.
That's it.
Tasman, you had something, bro?
I was just holding that Revelations 13 and 15.
I had something.
There you go. All right.
Okay,
go ahead.
This is Isaiah 32 and 7. It says the instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speak of right. Because, hey, the things that Esau Edom is bringing out, he's telling you on one hand these things are for your benefit. Like he said, he's talking about bringing wearable devices so they can track your health and make it to where that we have your best interests at heart. But in the same breath, like the people catching on, man, they want to track and trace you. This is the same thing they did with cows. Remember a few years ago they had that video where they cut that hole in the cow and they put the thing in there so we could see how the cow's stomach is working as it eats. That's essentially what they want to do to the people, Mm-hmm. So this devil, his MO is to enslave and to destroy the people. He ain't trying to help you. He can't help you.
Mm-hmm. You got that, Tasman.
God, this is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 15. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Mm-hmm. You want to speak?
Done. That image of the beast going into the system of the ancient Roman Empire that's being exercised through this system right now. right? With America at the helm, being that whore that sits upon the beast. Zaquan, if I may, could I real quick just share this this Chat GPT that I had looked up?
Yeah.
Because one thing that the elder apostle Gabar had brought out in one of his lessons about a week or two ago was regarding this definition of techno-totalitarianism. And techno-totalitarianism, let me see here, says...
I'm going to pull it up. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right. There you go.
Let me just pull up this definition right quick. Techno-totalitarianism refers to the use of technology by a state or regime to establish and maintain control over its citizens, often involving mass surveillance, censorship, and the manipulation of information.
Heavy.
It combines the characteristics of totalitarianism, where the government exerts absolute control, with the capabilities of modern technology. So considering what we read in Revelations, the 13th chapter, of how this image of the beast is being established, right? The system of ancient Rome is being pretty much exercised through this beast, the revival of ancient Rome, America, NATO, and the EU. Spirit sparked me to just search this up on ChatGPT. How does America reach this techno-totalitarian system by mimicking ancient Rome? It says the idea that America might reach a techno-totalitarian system by mimicking ancient Rome is a compelling historical political analogy. This concept isn't a literal replication, but rather a structural and thematic echo of Rome's evolution, right? And that's what we see, right? We're seeing the structure and thematic echo of Rome instituted through this image that's being set up. So I just want to jump down to highlight some points that it has made. It says power transition. It says ancient Rome, republic to empire, America, democracy to technocracy.
Ooh, man. The parallels.
Yep. It says control mechanism, ancient Rome, military and spectacle, America, AI surveillance and media. It says elite class, patricians, senators, America, tech billionaires, corporate state. Citizen role, ancient Rome, obedient subjects, data generating consumers. Ideological facade, Senate and people of Rome. America, we the people. And then it says the last collapse trigger, barbarian invasions, decadence, America, climate, AI, economic implosion. Right. So we're seeing the system, right, of ancient Rome exercised through America, but we're seeing the parallels. That's just it's to the point where there's no way that you can deny that the image of the beast is speaking.
Come on, man.
Right? That's right. Because these very same parallels that are being exercised and discussed on these the panels of these summit meetings with Klaus Schwab and various other top gurus in the field of technology and metadata, they're all pointing toward establishing that MOTB.
Beautiful, man. And see, and it's so heavy that you brought this out because this is on point right here. That's why when you go back to when Trump got put in office with Elon Musk as well, all right, what they kept screaming, this is the new Rome, the new Rome.
Right.
Okay, this is the new updated Rome. You see, this new what's the word? Technocracy. You know.
Yep.
Right there in your face.
Yeah,
right?
That's why Elon kept saying, this Rome's not gonna fall.
Yep.
If they're able to microchip everybody and they're able to trace and track everybody, they literally win. There would be no way to overcome it, which is why we need Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah.
Yep. You want to go back to Revelation 13?
I'll stop sharing my screen, Zaquan. I don't know if you have something that you wanted in the screen or if you want to keep this in there.
Man, that is heavy. Yeah, you can keep that in the screen. That's heavy. We could just read it,
Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, and it says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Mm-hmm. And that's the charagma. That's the charagma. All right. It's a physical, it's an actual physical mark. Can you pull up the one about that you had before where it said GMS and it broke down the chip, if you can. Right? It's an actual physical mark. And like we said before, and we're going to pose the question again for that bug out, Chief Ephraim, man. Okay, the real $1 million question needs to be, how the hell are we going to buy and sell with sin and Christianity? Right? That should be the $1 million question. Make sense of that. How are you going to buy and sell with sin, with Christianity, and whatever else doctrine they got out there? The white woman, okay, white Jesus. How are we going to buy and sell in this new society to come? Okay, it don't make sense. Okay, that's why, as our elders and apostles always stressed, you got to go into the definition of words, man. Okay, that word for mark is charagma in the Greek, which is the actual incision that's going to go in the body. It's a physical mark. Okay, got you. I'm gonna pull it up right here. All right, can you make it a little bigger?
Con, I think this is as big as it can go.
You sure?
Yeah. Let me try and share it another way.
Do Control Plus. It should make it bigger.
Control Plus.
Yeah.
Even in the screenshot, it was small.
Or Command Plus. See if it will work.
Let me share it another way.
You got it.
I say try to zoom in from the phone and then put it back in the screen. Like screenshot another picture of it zoomed in and then try to do it.
Try the one that I just put in the
got you.
Lock here. Let's put that one in there.
Got you. Okay, that's better.
Yeah.
So read that for me.
Okay. This was taken from the Elder Apostle Tahar's video that he did yesterday. It says, do teachers of GMS teach the mark of the beast is the microchip? It says, yes. The teachers of GMS, a Hebrew Israelite group, do generally teach that the mark of the beast mentioned in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 through 17 is the microchip,
right,
specifically referring to an RFID implantable chip. GMS doctrine typically emphasizes the mark, and it notes Greek charagma being a physical mark, not symbolic.
Right. So even the AI knows what it is. What the hell are you other camps talking about? That's why when you see these camps pop up talking about, oh, why y'all talking about the chip so much, or the mark of the beast is sin, is the mark of Cain, is the white woman, is white Jesus. Hey, you better steer far away from them guys, man. All right. All of those camps are compromised, man. Okay. They've been set up to denounce what the chip is really, what it really is. Okay, those guys are paid off, clearly. Go ahead, Doc.
Yep. It says that this mark will be implanted, particularly in the hand or forehead, as described in the scripture. That acceptance of this chip would be an act of allegiance to the system, beast, and a rejection of the Most High Yahweh. That those who take the chip will face destruction, according to Revelation chapter 14, 9 through 10.
Boom. Come on, man. How clear can this be made? Can I get one scripture? Quanawap, can you get was it Romans 16?
Yeah.
All right. Mark them that cause divisions.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 16 and verse 17. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them.
Yeah, you gotta avoid niggas that's talking about the mark of the beast is sin. Okay, that is whatever, the white, but whatever. You Jake's gotta wake up, man. You gotta see Malachi, what was it, 3 and 18? Those who's really serving the Most High and those who are not. You gotta be able to see that, man. Okay, go ahead, Doc.
Romans 16 and 18. For they that are such serve not our Lord Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, but their own belly, and by good words and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple.
See that? They serve their own belly, their own intentions, their own, their own lust. All right, guys, the compromise and paid off. Right. What was the last part again?
It reads, "But their own belly and by good words and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple."
See, by good words and fair speeches, they deceive the hearts of the simple, man. Because there's a lot of our people are simple, man. Scriptures say that, man. The simple believe of every word. This is why, again, our leadership stressed the importance of looking up the meaning of words. You got to go into the Greek, the Hebrew, the Latin. All right, you got to go. That's what gives you the overall insight, man. But like Elder Apostle Hart says all the time, a lot of you niggas are zombies just blindly following, man, and that's going to lead to your destruction. As the AI stated, it made mention of Revelation 14. Those that take that mark are gonna be destroyed in that second death. This is not a game. We are here. We are at the end of the world, man. You know.
I got a quick one.
You got it.
This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and 20, because as you may have mentioned, when you come across these different Israelite camps, if they're trying to withhold the teaching of what the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, what it truly is, then you got to stay clear of these guys. So it says 1 Thessalonians 5 and 20, despise not prophesying. So when you go into this word prophesying is G4393. It says prophecy, a discourse emanating from divine inspiration and declaring the purposes of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. If not the RFID chip, if that not a major part of the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, it says whether by reproving or admonishing the wicked or comforting the afflicted or revealing things hidden. If not the MOTB, something that was hidden, are we not supposed to be bringing out the definition of what that is? As it said, the Greek word charagma, going into the definition of charagma, which I'll go into that real briefly. The root words from that, like you said, we're supposed to look up words, right? So real quick, just talking about that, we pull this up.
That's how you rightly divide the truth.
That's
2 Timothy, right? 2 and 15.
So you have the damn it, it's phone tripping. If a brother had a picture dealing with the charagma and grapho, my phone's tripping right now.
I'll pull it up. Bear with me 1 second. Let me see. Yeah, that picture is like a staple.
Yeah,
right?
So that's part of the prophesying of what we're supposed to be doing. Making all things revealed, because the Lord has given us the wisdom to go into these things to warn our people. You can't despise doing that, man. Facts. Just as we're not supposed to hold anything back, because we understand that blood will be on our hands if we don't reveal what needs to be said.
God, I'm pulling it up now. Let's see, is this it? There we go.
Right. So the charagma, when you go into what that means, it's an engraved mark, sign. It says a badge of bondage. All right. And then when you go into karax, which is the root word for charagma, it says a stake or a stick similar to a bite of a snake. Because when you look at the Greek word for karax, it looks like that coiled snake. Mm-hmm. And then the root word for karax is grapho, which means to write with reverence to content of the writing. And when you go into that, the definition of these words in the blue letter, the concordance, it even makes not the concordance, like the commentary, it makes mention of a digital system, a technology, man. So all these things are things that we're not supposed to despise doing. Right. So going back to that definition, it says a revealing of things hidden, especially by foretelling future events. And this is something that is obviously being made very obvious now. It's coming to fruition. Okay. And then one more definition I wanted to get. It says, used in the New Testament of the utterance of Old Testament prophets, it said the prediction of events related to Yahweh's kingdom and his speedy triumph, together with the consolations and admonitions pertaining to it, the spirit of prophecy, the divine mind of which the prophetic faculty is due. So the point being that we're supposed to talk about these things, because the part of us getting to the kingdom of heaven is revealing what needs to be done in the earth before we get to the kingdom of heaven. And prophesying about Revelation 13 through 16, it's a mandatory part of the doctrine. You can't avoid talking about this, man.
It's vital.
It's vital, right?
Can I add to that point too?
Yep.
You know, it's the spirit of the Lord, right, that has it where brothers' videos used to get taken down, right, when you mention the charagma or you mention the chip, right? But now the Lord has it where these things are just flowing freely, right? Because Esau, he has the spirit on that pride that they believe that regardless of what we say, right, he's gonna accomplish his devices, man. Right? But it's making it more and more evident that, like you said, priest, it's a requirement to speak on these things, man. Right? If you're a prophet or you claim yourself to be a prophet, then you have to speak this in the correct manner, man. Right? You have to let the people know. You have to give the sheep, right, that correct doctrine, man.
Yeah, you ain't gonna have no excuse to say you didn't know what it was. So like Ashiar made mention of, the real $1 million question is, how are you gonna buy and sell without this chip, man? You know, everybody wants to dance around that aspect of the scriptures. That's a clue. And then going into the root words as we just did, all line everything together, man.
That's right. That's right. Hey, the Lord told us to give the whole roll. We got to feed our people the whole roll, man.
That's right.
You know, we can't hold back, prophecy. All right, and or unless the blood is going to be upon our hands. All right. So we giving Jake the whole roll as we were commanded to do. Right.
Hey, I can add real quick. The scriptures talk about not adding or taking away from the scriptures. When you're choosing not to go into what the MOTB is, you're taking away from the scriptures.
That's right.
Because the definition is made available to those that have the eye to see and ear to hear. So when you're withholding that information, like the brother said, the blood's going to be on your hands because you know what it is and you're not telling. Like IUIC, it was said that IUIC only tells certain members the true breakdown of what this is.
That's wicked.
You know? That's hella wicked. So what about the rest of your congregation? They ain't give enough tithes for them to know what that is. So that means they gonna die because they ain't paid.
Yeah. You gotta pay a certain amount of tithes to unlock the mysteries.
Nigga sound like Scientology. That's how Scientology works. You
damn.
move up in rank when you pay a certain amount of money. That's wicked.
Right. To go to the next level of prophecy when you pay this much money. That shit is crazy, man.
I have a precept for you real quick.
You got it.
Titus 1:10. For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. So this is what brothers are speaking on, right? These men, right? They're only thinking about the financial gain or the acclaim that they're gonna achieve on this side, man. Right, because they know that they're speaking, falsely, man. Like you said, they're hiding mysteries, right? Giving people things behind paywalls and things of that nature, man. Right, you got to have different type of subscription services, and but they're subverting whole houses because they have, on one hand, they're telling people who are willing to pay the truth or their version of it, and then on the other side, they're just misleading an entire congregation,
man. Goodness gracious. Hey, Tasman, can you finish out that verse 16 and 17?
Yes, sir. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. It says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell."
That no man may buy or sell. Okay? When are these camps going to deal with verse 17? Okay? Niggas talking about sin, the white woman, Christianity, potato chips, whatever, right? When are you going to deal with this, man? How are you going to buy and sell with sin? Can somebody make sense of that? Go ahead, Al.
Right.
Save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
Keep reading.
Verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600.
And that man is the Edomite, all right? The man of sin. Go ahead.
And his number is 666.
Yeah, it ain't no damn sixth trumpet. What do you say? Wouldn't they say the sixth trumpet, the sixth
six seals or something?
The sixth seal, whatever it is. All right, you going way off. That's the chi-size stigma, man. Okay, this is why you got to look up the words. All right, and you have to have the spirit, basically. All right, to have the insight on what Apostle John was talking about, man. This is why he said, "Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast." All right, and we clearly see that these camps don't have the understanding. They don't have the spirit. See, this is why they're going off, and a lot of people are going to perish behind following these doctrines, man. All right. Now I want to go back to what I had on the screen here. Let me pull it back up. Right. Bear with me. Let's go back to that. Oh, matter of fact, before we go back to that, let's play the video that you posted, Priest. Let's just get it all out here, right?
Now, why is data so important? It's important because we've reached the point when we can hack not just computers, we can hack human beings and other organisms. Now, what do you need in order to hack a human being? You need two things. You need a lot of computing power, and you need a lot of data, especially biometric data. What we have seen so far, corporations and governments collecting.
And real quick, remember, these are your new leaders. These are the leaders of the new world. Yep. Okay? You're your tech billionaires, your technocrats, basically these left-handed priests, witches and warlocks, all right? These magicians and whatnot, astrologers. Okay, these are the leaders of the new world that weren't voted in by the people. All right, that are going to push this beast system, right?
Data about where we go, who we meet, what movies we watch. The next phase is the surveillance going under our skin.
The most important development of the 21st century is this.
That's the chip, the surveillance that's going to go under the skin.
This ability to hack human beings, to go under the skin, collect biometric data, analyze it, and understand people better than they understand themselves. This, I believe, is maybe the most important event of the 21st century.
By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something...
Are you hearing what he's saying? Re-engineering the future of life itself, man. All right, this is him attempting to rewrite men in his image. All right, you being this whole transhumanist movement, which is basically Satanism, man. Okay, where your body is now merged with technology, machines. Okay,
you can usually also engineer it.
So far, we have discovered the secrets of less than 0.3% of complex life on the planet. Think what will we achieve? What we will achieve. When? And it is a matter of when. We understand 1 or 2%, let alone 5 or 10%.
Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds, but our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds. The IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud, these are the new driving forces of evolution. And at the same time, science may enable life after being confined for 4 billion years to the limited realm of organic compounds. Science may enable life to break out into the inorganic realm.
Yeah, so you hear how proud these devils speak. And I want to get this real quick. Psalm 73 in verse 7. And it reads, it says, matter of fact, we'll start at 6. Psalm 73 verse 6, it says, therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covered them as a garment. All right, as we just heard the pride from this devil, Yuval Noah Harari. Okay, it says, their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than the heart could wish. All right, because this man is in possession of the whole world. Okay, the point, it says they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. And this technocracy, as we've been talking about for the past 40-something minutes, is a form of oppression. Okay, a digital enslavement. It says they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully, all right, pridefully. Okay, they just know that they're God, right? It says they set their mouth against the heavens, as you just heard him about. What do you say about some God, right? He says they set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walking through the earth, and part of that is through his policies, man. Okay, the pushing of this system, this beast, right? So, hey, we're in that time, man. Again, let's pull this back up. Okay.
I had another preset whenever you're done.
Oh, go ahead, bro. Pull it out. We'll get it.
This is Psalms chapter 10, verse 3. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous whom the Lord abhorreth. And like you said, he's pretty much boasting of what his plans are to become God on earth. Remember, we brought that video of how these elites pretty much say that they're going to become God, and anybody that stands in the way, they're going to kill him. You know, so they're trying to achieve the that blessing of immortality through left hand methods.
Sure.
It says the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after the Most High. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is not in all his thoughts, because everything that we're doing, everything that we're talking about and bringing out of what this devil's talking about, doing, is all about him trying to replace the Most High. That's why he speaks about the Lord like he does, saying that the Most High is fake news, that God is dead, right. All this other bullshit. They can create the rain. They don't care how mad they make the Lord. They really think in their mind that they're gonna overcome the Lord, man. It's showing you that pride is through the roof.
That's it. So this is from Chat GPT, prophetic paranoia, right? It says from a critical / biblical prophecy perspective, right? So as we just read Revelation 13 and 16, it says marking, implant, or identifier on body. Okay. It says biometric IDs, neural implants, genetic tagging. All right, all tied to the chip. Okay, and here's the results. Control. No buying / selling without the mark. Okay, no financial transactions, no commerce without having that mark. Okay, that physical mark. It says technocratic control. All right, because through that mark is going to give these these technocrats full control, surveillance. All right, as you just heard in the video we played, through that chip, they have the ability to hack humans. All right, so they can hack you, meaning they can take control of you. Okay, people don't understand this. All right, it says technocratic control via biotech infrastructure. It says globalism, one world system, potential U.S.-led global biosurveillance. All right, all these things are being implemented now. This is why we were talking about the Palantir. Okay, that's all part of it. They just gave these Palantir officials, I think it was like 4 of them, like a high ranking in the army or something like that. You brothers know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think they were made like either high ranking lieutenants or generals. I forget what the official rank was, but the brothers were saying that that's rare, because that takes years of service, and they just gave them that out the blue.
Come on, man. So these are the people that's ruling. They're gonna be controlling the military and the government, man. This is them, right? And my last point before we segue to some other points real quick. We brought this out, about a few years ago, but we're approaching that time again. Klaus Schwab says people's brains will be microchipped by 2026. All right, where are we at in 2025, man? Mm-hmm. See? So, hey, prophecy is moving extremely fast, man. All right, if brothers want to add anything on to that, then we'll move on to the next point.
Yeah, we halfway here, man. It's June about to be July, so we're already halfway through 2025 already, man. Like quick to say, man, the Lord is speeding up, time for the elect's sake. Because what we're seeing take place, if you could put it up on the screen, Baba Kashad, dealing with that, because you made mention about how these technocrats are pretty much the modern day Chaldeans, just showing the parallels through Chat GPT of how even they know that these damn devils, man, hey, they're dealing with high level witchcraft. All right, it shows you that we're in Babylon the Great, man.
So, what did you want me to pull up again?
I sent it in the group chat, dealing with the biblical parallels between the technocrats and modern day Chaldeans.
Okay, Con, let me pull it up. Oh yeah, this is heavy. Let me save this too. Bear with me. Let me pull it up.
While you getting that, I just want to read a little bit of what going into that, because I asked ChatGPT, are these technocrats considered the modern day Chaldeans? It says that's a deep and thought provoking question. To answer whether modern day technocrats can be considered the modern day Chaldeans, let's break down spiritually, historically, and biblically. So just going through this real quick. Who were the Chaldeans in the Bible? It says the Chaldeans were a Semitic people in southern Babylon, which is known as modern day Iraq. It says they were known for their astrology, mathematics, sorcery, wisdom traditions. They were the intellectual class of Babylon. It says in Daniel, the Chaldeans were astrologers, magicians, and wise men, the elite class advising the king, opposed to the Most High's prophets. And you look at these, technocrats now, they're like that position dealing with the elites, because these guys, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, all these technocrats that's in the forefront. These are small guys that compared to the big fish, which is the elites, but they're the ones they're their mouthpieces pretty much. So it says, who are modern day technocrats? It says technocrats are elites who control society through technological and scientific expertise. They often operate through AI development, digital surveillance, medical and genetic technology, economic modeling, CBC, social credit systems. They influence or override political, religious, and cultural leadership, pushing for a technocratic global order, which is what Tazwan was reading earlier. All right, so just going into that, even ChatGPT lets it be known. It says, yes, spiritually they are very similar. It says the ancient Chaldeans were magicians, astrologers, sorcerers. Compared to the technocrats, they're now digital scientists, AI engineers, bioengineers. All right, they control the Chaldeans control ancient Babylon. The technocrats control modern Babylon. All right, through like we read, government and global systems. All right, they oppose Yahweh Hashem Yahushua servants. These people today push anti Messiah agendas, transhumanism, depopulation, and more decay. Because this is a religion. This technocrat, technocratic, whatever they call it, transhumanism. This is a religion that they're pushing. All right.
Yeah. No more genders and all of that shit.
Yeah, that was the whole point of why you see the fucking alphabet movement, man. That was the low form of that, because like we went into before. This is the end goal of eugenics.
Yep.
This is what they wanted, to merge man with machine. This is why we had to see society get completely debased to where you can't tell a man from a woman, because they want to make everybody fucking robots, man. All right. So as it says, the ancient Chaldeans practice occult knowledge. The technocrats of today linked to New Age, Luciferianism, and secret societies, and so on. You can read the rest, but just showing you that look, this shit is real. We are literally living out the last days of Esau's rulership, and he's on this a rapid pace to try to bring in this new world order, because he knows he's against time, man. He's actually on schedule.
Heavy, man. This is heavy information, man, for everybody to see. All right. Look how prophecy is coming to pass. Look how prophecy is speaking. Look what these devils are doing at the end of this world. Okay. So this is how you know, again, by all these things coming to pass. All right. We know that his destruction is close. As we see the world get more wicked, this technocracy, the AI, the chip, the mass surveillance, all of that, man. This is the end.
Oh man, if I can read this last part, it says why this matters spiritually. It says these technocrats, like the Chaldeans, are trying to build a new Babylon, a world without the Most High, but ruled by knowledge. But their end is the same, and it quotes Revelation 8:2. It says, just like the Most High humbled Nebuchadnezzar and destroyed Babylon, he will judge this modern technocratic system, which is spiritual Babylon. So come on, man.
Ooh, man, that's fire, brother. Man, I gotta read what you got at the bottom here, right? Well, we'll just pull it in the blue letter, right? But that's on point. Isaiah 47 and verse 10. Okay, Isaiah 40. We'll start at 9 and read down to 11. All right. Can you read for me out?
I got you.
God.
Go ahead, Tyler. Go ahead.
You go ahead, Priest, if you want to.
It's Revelation 47 and 9. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment and one day, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments.
Right. So everything we're reading, the parallels of the Chaldeans from the past and now the technocrats, this all ties into the multitude of thy sorceries, the great abundance of thy enchantments. Look what these devils been doing. All right. These devils have been shooting rockets at the sun, trying to blow up the moon. You know what I'm saying? Opening portals up with discern and all of that, trying to communicate with demons on the other side, right? There's all types of high-level witchcraft and enchantments that's been going on over these past years, man.
Mm-hmm.
All types of shit. The fucking 8 to the chrome, dealing with the children, all that's been coming out, right? The rituals, everything, man. Okay, destruction is close. Go ahead.
Verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me.
Boom, and that's what's going to get his ass destroyed.
Yep.
Right? Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And really, he's not operating with true wisdom and knowledge. Nope. All right? It's all wickedness, right? But that he's drunk off pride. He's drunk off wickedness to the point where he thinks he's God. And that's what the Lord said. It had perverted thee. It's corrupted and warped his mind. It says, thou hast said in his heart, I am, meaning I am the most high and none else beside me. So he thinks that he's untouchable. Mm-hmm. Going back to these technocrats, these elites. All right. They think that they're God on earth. All right. Read on that.
It says, therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come unto thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know.
One more, verse 12.
Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail.
Now we understand. All right. Now we truly understand what this scripture is talking about, man. See, the Lord is making mockery. Come with your Palantir, come with your AI, come with the chip. All right. Your rituals, your left hand magic. Do all of that shit and see if it's going to cause you to prevail against the Lord. It's not going to happen, man. This is why, again, all these things that are being presented in this lesson that these devils are doing is going to lead to his ultimate destruction.
Yep.
See?
God. Can I get a quick precept, Zaquan?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because like you said, the Lord is setting it up to where this devil, his pride is, at maximum height. Because when you consider, like, as we've been doing the lessons, and all of the brothers in the circumcision have been doing lessons regarding the development of this AI infrastructure, this metadata that he's utilizing, this infrastructure that's being set up, the war that's brewing, and the technology that he's preparing to utilize. This nigga look formidable from a worldly point of view. Like, ain't this nigga's unfuckwittable? Like, goddamn, right. But the Lord is setting it up like that to ultimately exalt himself, right? This is 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 27. But Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. So the preaching of this word, to the world it seems foolish, but it's literally going to confound all of the wisdom of this world. The fact that we are proclaiming the downfall of this man's system, and all we're doing is coming out of the scriptures, is going to ultimately confound the wisdom of these Chaldeans, these modern day Chaldeans. It's going to confound the wisdom of these people that come against the truth, the gospel, right? It says, and Yahweh Shemel Shai have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. So literally, like the scriptures speak about in 2 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, how the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. This truth that we possess is far greater than Palantir. It's far greater than the AI infrastructure, the weapons of mass destruction, the drones, all of that, man. You know, because ultimately at the end of the day, the will of the Lord is going to be accomplished, as the brother priest had read at the beginning of the lesson, Isaiah 55:11. The fact that all of these things, this devil is setting up this infrastructure and he's sticking out his chest, right? And nobody is coming to really oppose him. In his mind, he thinking he got it.
Yeah.
But Yahweh Shemal Shai is going to pull the rug from up under him. Excuse me.
All right. I got a preset for you, bro. Going into what you just said. So we'll get right to the point. This is Psalms chapter 52, and I'll start at verse 6. I'm gonna read this in the NLT. It says, "The righteous will see it and be amazed. They will laugh and say, 'Look at what happens to mighty warriors who do not trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. They trust their wealth instead and grow more and more bold in their wickedness.'"
Yep.
Yeah. And that's what we're doing. We laughing at these motherfuckers. All of these individuals that are standing 10 toes down behind all of their wickedness, right? The divinations, all of these various things that they're tapping into on the left-hand side and saying that they sit as a queen, as the scriptures say, right? They have that mindset of that God complex that we read about in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, right? And we're ultimately laughing at them right now because we understand that the will of the Lord is going to come to pass. Sure. It's already written to take place. You see, we're just waiting for the Lord to execute the prophecies in the sequence in which he has foretold us that it will happen.
Yeah. Like you said, I raised up Pharaoh just to show who's really in power, right? I got one more, all right, just to add on to what you brought out. I touched on what you were saying, those solid points there. This is Isaiah 44:25. It's Isaiah 44 and verse 25. It says, "That frustrated the tokens of the liars and maketh diviners mad, and that turneth wise men backward and maketh their knowledge foolish." And this is what we're doing through the word of Yahweh Shemel Shah, man. All of this nonsense, this pride, this man's left-hand technology, all of that is being cast down by the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shah, man. Okay? All we got to do is continue to have the faith and continue to prophesy against this man's enterprise, man. Okay, the Lord is coming to destroy it, man. Okay, see, all these things are happening for the sake of the Lord's movie. He's allowing the villain to get that pride. You know how it is in every movie. The villain thinks that he's gonna win. You know, he's beating his chest, right? He thinks he's gonna take down the protagonist, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, all right, there's a change of events, and this man falls, and that's what's getting ready to happen, right? He has the technology, he has the everything, the drones, the nuclear, all of that, man. But he's soon to fall. You know,
it's like in the movies and the shows, you have the villain before he gets took down. He tells the world, he tells the hero his whole plan of what he's about to do.
Yeah.
And then he loses. That's Esau.
Exactly. Then the real hero shows up.
Right.
I was shocked.
What the hell?
It's beautiful how it's playing out. Right. It's beautiful how this thing is playing out, man. And but yeah, that's the point, just dealing with that, all that information there. And we'll just grab this here and we'll wrap this up. Just wanted to talk about this because again, this lesson here is just open forum. All right. We wanted to address all those things dealing with the chip. Okay. But let's pull this up too. Okay. Meanwhile, it's getting ready to go down in Babylon. All right. This is from theguardian.com. It says the alarming rise of U.S. officers hiding behind masks, a police state. Okay. Like Priest was talking about earlier, you saying that a lot of these guys are KKK members and shit like that. You know, so reading on here, it says Mike German, an ex-FBI agent, said immigration agents hiding their identities highlights the illegitimacy of actions. Right. So it says here in the quick read, it says somewhere, how you say that word? Balaclavas. It says somewhere net gaiters, sunglasses, and hats. Some wear masks and casual clothes. Across the country, armed federal immigration officers have increasingly hidden their identities while carrying out immigration raids, arresting protesters, and roughing up prominent Democratic critics. It's a trend that has sparked alarm among civil rights and law enforcement experts alike. It says, Mike German, a former FBI agent, said officers' widespread use of masks was unprecedented in U.S. law enforcement and a sign of a rapidly eroding democracy. Okay, because this society is on the verge of complete collapse. It says masking symbolizes the drift of law enforcement away from democratic controls, he said. The Department of Homeland Security has insisted masks are necessary to protect officers' privacy, urging without providing evidence that there has been an uptick in violence against agents. Right?
That's bullshit. Who is attacking police officers, bro?
Right.
That's wild as hell. But see, I was just thinking about that when you're reading that the desensitization, or however you say that word, the desensitizing, Slacky, has already been done, because you see these YNs walking around with these fucking shiesty masks and shit. So Esau, was able to do these things now with the same coverings, and nobody's saying nothing. But that's bullshit, man. That's the devil, putting that bait out there.
Exactly. Second Ezra's. Let me get that real quick.
If I may, right quick, just make a quick point about those masks. I pulled this article from ABC News about the mask. It said many of those laws date back to the 40s and 50s, when many states passed anti-mask laws as a response to the KKK. So this nigga Esau don't give a fuck. He gonna do what he want to do.
He about to crash out.
He gonna crash out.
Right, real quick. Second Ezra 9:1, it says, He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then should thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So like we were just talking about dealing with this beast system in the chip. All right. The fact that we see all these things come to pass, we know that Yahweh Shemel Shah is close, right? Verse 3, therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, which we've been seeing all over the earth, uproars, revolts, seditions, okay, protests, riots. It says, then should thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Bottom line, all right? You can't tell us otherwise, okay? The end is manifest. We are almost out this bitch, man.
That's right.
Okay? Prophecy is being amplified, man. Every day is one step closer to the end of Esau's world. Verse 6.
Zaquan, if I may land back on that point too, as far as the end is manifest, this data that's just amounting, so much information is just readily accessible to the point where it's like you got to be having your head under the sand at this point, to where you're just totally oblivious to the prophecies of the Lord. Because everything that's taking place right now is irrefutable, that the Lord is working in the earth right now, man. Ain't no hiding it.
Nope. Second Ezra 9:6, even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, in endings, in effects, and signs, man. So again, you got to have the eyesight. You got to have the spirit to see this, man. Okay? You still got Jake arguing and trying to debate on who the Edomite is and why you got to talk about the so-called white man, all that shit. Look, all that's played out. Okay, we're at the end of this thing. If you can't see that Esau is the devil that the Bible speaks of, hey, shame on you. All right. At the end of the day, right? Hey, we're focused on the end time prophecies, the wars that are happening. All right, this bullshit, ceasefire agreement that they said that got established between Iran and Israel, which when they call for peace and safety, we know that the sudden destruction follows, man. All right.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Priest Salakia.
Like I said, just speaking on that ceasefire, that was a farce because in the midst of quote unquote that ceasefire certain things happened behind the scenes that wasn't talked about. If I can just read that real quick.
You got it.
So this was a couple of things that was shared on Thread dealing with that. So it says Trump declared a forever ceasefire. Markets jumped, headlines celebrated, but within hours, missiles flew, protests erupted, and the courts dropped a bombshell. This isn't peace, it's a distraction. Here's what really happened. It says the ceasefire that didn't last. Trump posted about a forever ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Oil prices fell, stock surged. It looked like diplomacy won. Then Israel launched new airstrikes within hours. Both sides blamed each other. So much for peace. It says NATO summit, Trump's pressure as ceasefires cracked. NATO members went into the HAGUE, however you say that. It says Trump demanded members spend 5% of GDP on defense. European allies hesitated, but the message was clear. War readiness isn't optional anymore. It's mandatory economics. It says Supreme Court drops a migrant bombshell in a separate storm. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled Trump's deportation plan legal again. Migrants can now be sent to third world countries, even if they've never been there before. Legal, yes. Controversial extremely. And then it says protests explode in L.A. The ruling triggered mass protests in Los Angeles. Thousands took to the streets. National Guard units deployed. Marines were seen near federal buildings. The mainstream news busy talking about the quote unquote peace. So that was all just a smoke and mirror show, man. That wasn't really nothing that they really took serious. Trump went on C-SPAN, dropped the F-bomb, but that's all theatrics, man.
Right.
He ain't really mad because it's all a show.
It's all a show. And people see that. It's all bullshit, man. Go ahead and do what you got to do, because as we're talking about, all right, you got riots and protests, sedition going on everywhere, man. All right.
Yeah.
Not before. Oh, go ahead, Slocky. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, because in the midst of that, you had that that tweet that Iran said that they was gonna activate their sleeper cells, and then there was certain videos of Iranian protesters, storming buildings and shit like that, whether it was real or AI or whatever, but the case may be. They brought it up on the news that be on alert for Iranian sleeper cells. They shut down the airports and different things like that. So it's all just a big show, whether they're trying to instill fear or whatever. But we understand that this is just gearing up for another big 911 situation that they're going to bring. That another false FGLA or FLAG.
Yeah, that's it. It's coming. I'm gonna just read this and play that last video, and then that'll be it. All right. But just going into the immigration and the ICE and these police masking up. All right, because really they're about to start letting off on Jake, man. Okay, this is what it's about. They remember Trump gave these devils the green light to pretty much have their way, and that's what's going on now. It says, is there any precedent in the U.S. for this kind of widespread law enforcement masking? He said, I'm not aware of any period where U.S. law enforcement officials wore masks, other than the Lone Ranger, of course. Masking has always been associated with police states, and that's exactly what's being established now.
Yep.
I think that masking symbolizes the drift of law enforcement away from democratic controls. We see this during protests. We see this in ICE raids, and we see this in excessive secrecy in which law enforcement has increasingly operated since 9/11 terrorist attacks. I'm just going to read this first part here. It says, how does masking fit in the post-9/11 trends in American policing? After 9/11, there were significant changes to the law. The Patriot Act, expansion of Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, changes to FBI guidelines, that allowed mass warrantless surveillance, right? Do we not see that now?
Yep.
Those changes roll back reforms that have been put in place to address law enforcement abuses, including the targeting of disfavored political activists. As the federal government greatly expanded its authority, state and local law enforcement adopted a similar approach they call, quote, intelligent-led policing. That included the creation of fusion centers, in which state and local and federal law enforcement share information with each other and private sector entities, right? And the rest reads on. Okay. So they about to let loose on Jake. Isaiah, 10:5. I gave the Assyrian the charge to tread them down like the mire in the streets. Okay. So you see what's about to happen. Like we said, it's bigger than immigration. Okay. This is the police state. This is martial law that's being established right before our eyes, man.
That's right.
Okay. So let's play this ceasefire, and that'll be it. Okay. Open forum, man. It's all going down.
All right, let's bring in Mike Tobin, who is live in Tel Aviv with the latest on the ground. Mike, good morning.
Good morning. We have both the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian claiming victory now in this first full day in which the ceasefire appears to be holding. Now, you just heard from President Trump saying that the Iranian nuclear program has been set back, has been devastated, has been obliterated, to kind of paraphrase his words. But the contrary reporting that they're referring to, we've got that information through the Reuters news agency, citing U.S. intelligence officials saying that the Iranian nuclear program was set back a matter of months, not years. Still, in light of that, you have the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu claiming victory, saying two existential threats to the Jewish state have been removed: the Iranian nuclear program, and that he claims that they have decimated the ballistic missile arsenal that belonged to Iran. Here's the Prime Minister.
Citizens of Israel, on your behalf, I thank my friend President Trump and the United States for their part in the defense of Israel and in removing the Iranian nuclear threat. The participation of the U.S. in the campaign, not only organizationally, but also offensively, is a historic event.
Now, the war in Gaza continues, and Israel suffered a setback there. 7 soldiers have been killed. They were operating in a Puma armored vehicle, which is pretty much just an old British Challenger tank with the turret removed. A Palestinian managed to attach a bomb to that vehicle and detonate it, killing the soldiers inside. 50 Israeli hostages are still believed to be held in the Gaza Strip, and 20 of them are believed to be alive. Carly and Todd.
All right, Mike Tobin live for us. Mike, thank you. Let's bring in former Navy submariner, naval defense expert, and senior fellow at the Hudson Institute, Brian Clark. Brian, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And speaking of the Navy, U.S. Navy subs launched 30 Tomahawk missiles as part of the Iranian strike, Operation Midnight Hammer. So what do you think about the president's assessment of the success of that mission that we just heard?
Well, I think these intel reports are often pretty preliminary, right? So the first time you look at it, you're going to make a really rough assessment of what might have happened. And I think the strike was obviously successful, obviously caused a lot of damage. Obviously, I took away the ability to access those facilities and probably damaged them significantly underground. So I think that's sort of a given. Everybody agrees to that. I think the question is, how long did this delay the program? And I think a lot of the initial assessments are based on the fact that the uranium is still around and then maybe got moved somewhere else. But there's a big difference between having some somewhat enriched uranium in a pile somewhere and having the ability to translate that into a bomb.
Well, one of the big things that will come out of this NATO summit this morning is, of course, the 5% increase in NATO defense spending for all 32 nations, that 5% of their GDP. How significant is that in terms of weapons that money will be spent towards? And how much stronger do you think the NATO alliance will be as a result of this increased spending?
Well, it's huge. I mean, you think about most of these NATO countries have been barely getting to 2% of GDP. So this is almost a doubling of the money they spend on their military. And then in addition to that, spending 1.5% of GDP on infrastructure and cybersecurity and some of the other resilience initiatives that are needed to be able to defend against a nearby threat like Russia. So it's a huge increase, and it will cause those militaries to be a lot stronger. I think it'll be particularly impressive to see the level of redundancy that we'll get in in Europe. I think some people say redundancy is bad, but in the military sense, it's usually good because you have more capacity then. And I think one of the things this will do is allow the NATO countries to maybe be able to combine their efforts and be able to have more capacity to address the Russian threat instead of having to specialize in one or two military disciplines.
Yeah, and right now I'm thinking back to March 4th when President Trump made those comments before Congress, and he promised to establish a new office of shipbuilding within the White House, revitalize the industry and bolster American Navy strength. How are we doing on that front?
It's doing pretty well. I was impressed with the office's actions to start the gears turning in terms of regulatory changes that start to incentivize companies to move into the shipbuilding industry. We've already seen some investment in U.S. shipyards. So Hanwha Industries, which is a Korean company, has invested and bought the Philly shipyard. That shipyard is now looking at building out commercial ships. There's a huge amount of money going into the U.S. Navy shipbuilding effort through this reconciliation bill. So definitely a lot of movement in shipbuilding. I would say we're going to see somewhat of a renaissance in U.S. shipbuilding. The only question is, can we sustain it, and will there be a demand for these ships on the part of companies that do shipping operations?
And going back for the past 2 weeks now, with the Iranian military being, I guess the key word of the day is decimated in terms of their military leaders. What is your assessment of Iranian military capability right now?
It's pretty much completely destroyed, I guess. Right now, there's very little of Iranian military left. Iran's military consists of the military force, the traditional military, and that's largely been destroyed by virtue of Israel's attacks. And then there's also this Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is the special operations part of the military, and it's been damaged to quite an extent. It's unclear exactly how far down it is, but both sides of the military have been pretty much decimated, and there's not much of it left. And the question now is, Iran is going to lash out with its proxies, but doesn't really have the ability to defend its own territory. And so how far does it go, knowing that it's pretty much undefended right now?
Very good.
Right. So again, anything can happen, man. This ain't over. All right. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors, a lot of bullshit propaganda that's going on right now. So, hey, because we understand that Russia and China are soon to get involved, because at the end of the day, it's prophecy, and who can resist the will of the Lord, you know? So don't get lulled to sleep. Okay, and it's still hot out here, man. All right, so hey, we're watching out for prophecy, man. You brothers want to add anything else?
Okay, I got one real quick.
You got it.
It's 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 3 in the NLT. When people are saying everything is peaceful and secure, then disaster will fall on them as suddenly as a pregnant woman's labor pains begin, and there will be no escape.
That's right. That's right. You got it, brother.
Okay. So pretty much, like we've been saying, man, they're the illusion of what they say, illusion of calm, right?
Right.
They're putting up a good face right now, as if things are just going according to plan, but there's chaos in the background, man, and that chaos is going to continue to lead to that storm coming to pass, man.
It's coming, man. Ain't no way around it. You brothers got anything else you want to put in there?
Wow.
Hey, we in that time, man. Prophecy it's all coming together beautifully, man. Isaiah 34 and 16, man. All right, none of these prophecies shall fail. All right. So you see,
I was over here talking away. I was muted this whole time.
No, go ahead.
I had something real quick just to land back on what was played. Zephaniah 3 and 8. It says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey." All right, and as you said, Zaquan, we're watching, right, for prophecy to take place. Who can resist, right?
Yeah, that's it.
It says, "For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation." So, as we understand, according to prophecy, right, the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, right, that's going to take place in that Middle East region, right? So, despite all of these ceasefires and these talks of peace and fucking global tension being de-escalated, that's not going to avail.
That's right.
Because again, it's prophecy and it's the determination of the Lord.
That's right.
Right. It says that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So we understand that in that region of the Middle East, right, these war tensions, right, that's escalating. It's not going to de-escalate.
That's right.
It's ultimately going to lead to the World War III, right? The War of Armageddon, right? And eventually, ultimately, the Lord is going to come back to deliver his elect, and he's going to do away with the heathen. These heathen military, the military forces.
Close. Exciting times, man. Exciting times. Preacher, you have something?
Yeah, I got one more. Revelation 3:11. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. You know, so you true believers out there, man, continue to hold on to the true doctrine, keep the faith in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and they just hold fast, man. We almost out of here.
We almost out of here, man. Beautiful, man. Call Halay Mallah Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. You know? So yeah, that's it. Akim, you know, I watch you. You know, we that's the lesson, open forum. We pray that this midweek live was edifying, man. You know, that chip is the last factor, if you will, man, before it all goes down. So basically all eyes are on them small hats, and all eyes are on that MOTB, man. All right.
Yeah.
So we're close. Some big event that's going to change the world is going to go down. Maybe an economic collapse, a blackout, an EMP. You never know, man. Whatever it is they're going to have to usher in that device, man. So just keep your eyes and ears glued to prophecy, man. You know. So we pray that this lesson was edifying. We're going to close it out by giving all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught us the truth. Double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring in the house of David, the elect, is pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers.
Shalom.
Shalom to the elect. Shalom.